You're listening to episode 98 of the Fed and Fearless podcast. On this episode, I'm chatting with Becca Daniel about how the pandemic inspired more alignment for her as she pivoted her fitness business online. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Fed and Fearless podcast. I'm your host, Laura Schoenfeld, a registered dietitian, nutrition business coach, and online entrepreneur with over 10 years of experience in online business. And I'm here to show you everything I've learned about creating a life and a business that nourishes you. On this podcast, we'll talk about the lifestyle habits, practical strategies, mindset shifts, and leaps of faith required to build a healthy body, a powerful mind, a strong spirit, and a successful business. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fed and Fearless podcast. I'm Laura Schoenfeld, your host as always, and today's episode is going to be dealing with something that if you are a fitness or nutrition business owner that you may have experienced in the last year and a half, and that is being forced to pivot into an online business. My guest today is somebody who was working as a personal trainer in real life, working with clients. And then when the pandemic hit, she had some really big decisions to make around how she was going to continue serving her clients. And at first, it was an adaptation. She thought it was going to be temporary. But as she got started and as she started serving her clients online, she realized that this way of working was so much more aligned with the goals that she had for her life. And it was actually serving her clients a lot better as well. So we're going to get her story about how the pandemic caused her to make that transition and how she really found alignment in her business when she was able to move things online. Now, speaking of moving businesses online, I have a really special announcement that I want to share before we get into this episode. If you're listening to this at the end of August 2021, then my Nutrition Business Accelerator program is now open for enrollment until Thursday, September 2nd. This program is created exclusively for nutrition and dietitian entrepreneurs. And in it, I'll show you how to start, grow, and scale your online business to six figures and multi-six figures and beyond. So you can experience the financial and time freedom that you desire and have a bigger impact on people around the world. I created this program to help struggling dietitian and nutrition entrepreneurs get clarity on who they serve, how they serve them, and how they can stand out in a crowded market so they can more easily attract dream high-paying clients into their online nutrition business. Now, as you'll discover in our interview today, there is a lot of business owners that move their business online in the last year and a half. And so there's so much more quote unquote competition that we have to deal with as business owners in the health and fitness space. Because of that, it's more important than ever that you know how to stand out, that you know how to connect with your ideal client, that you know how to show them how you can help them and what transformation that you can help them achieve when they say yes to investing and working with you. And the nutrition marketplace is only going to get more and more saturated over time. So you really have no time to waste. If you don't have clarity on who you help and how you help them, and you can't speak about it in a way that really attracts your dream clients into your business, then you need the roadmap that we provide inside of the Nutrition Business Accelerator. Now, this program is a great fit whether you're just getting started in your business, or maybe you haven't even graduated nutrition school yet, or if you've been in business for months or even years and you're not really seeing the traction that you want to see. We've helped people who were in their final year of nutrition school all the way up to people that have been in business for 10 years. And it's because our program helps you lay the foundation of timeless marketing principles, not just things like social media or things that are going to get old after a year or so. This is stuff that will really last in your business, and that way you can experience sustainable business growth that adapts to the constantly changing world of online business. This program is 12 weeks long, but the awesome thing is that you'll get unlimited access to the program and to our regular coaching calls for as long as the program exists. So even though you can get amazing results in just 90 days, it's totally okay if it takes you a little bit longer to get through the content because we don't kick you out after that 12 weeks. And you'll get everything that you need to know to create programs and services that provide truly transformative results for your clients, which means that not only will you make more income, income, but you'll also have a much larger impact on the world around you that can have the most amazing ripple effect for the people that you want to serve. I'm also going to show you how to manage your time, your energy, and your resources so you can get more done in less time and experience the time freedom that you started your business for. And that way you never have to feel stuck or overwhelmed in your business again. So if you want to get my step-by-step plan for creating a six-figure online nutrition business, then the Nutrition Business Accelerator is where you want to be. To learn more and apply for your spot, go to lauraschoenfeld.com/NBA and do this before doors close on Thursday, September 2nd, because we're not sure when we'll be opening for enrollment again, and typically we only offer this program twice a year. So don't miss your opportunity to join. Go to lauraschoenfeld.com/NBA, which stands for Nutrition Business Accelerator. Our doors close on Thursday, September 2nd, so get your application in and let's accelerate your nutrition business together. All right, so let's get into the episode. This episode is with Becca Daniel, the owner of 1123 Fitness. In 2014, Becca packed up her kettlebells and her Bengal cat and moved from Minneapolis to Los Angeles to pursue a fitness training career. While working at a women's gym, she noticed that even with solid programming and consistency, some of her clients were still getting stuck. So she got curious. And Becca noticed that the aesthetics-based fitness and diet culture was causing her clients frustration as they chased societal standards of smaller bodies and unrealistic expectations. She began the work of shifting her own mindset and found freedom once she was able to focus on what her body could do instead of focusing on what it looked like as her main metric of success. Now she encourages women to question the standards of fitness that we see portrayed in the media and from the billion-dollar fitness industry, and approach their workouts from a place of alignment, love, and acceptance instead. Becca believes that fitness is not a look and that working out doesn't have to be about changing your body. It can simply be about enjoying movement, feeling good, and getting better at getting older. So Becca is somebody who took the leap to get into online business because she was forced to, and now is finding that she loves it and that her clients are loving it as well. So I can't wait for you to hear Becca's story and to hear how she took her business serving clients face-to-face in a gym and transitioned online to help even more people than she could help face-to-face. So without further ado, here is Becca Daniel. All right, everybody. Well, I'm so excited to have with me on the show today, Becca Daniel. Welcome to the Fed and Fearless podcast, Becca.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here.
So I would love if you could share your story with our audience if they don't know you yet and they want to get to know you. Just how did you get involved with fitness and what motivated you to become a trainer?
All right, that's going to be a long answer, but I'll try to keep it short. So I'm Becca Daniel, and I'm still getting used to having that new last name. I recently got married almost 3 months ago. Yeah, it's been about 3 months in April. So fitness has been a part of my life. Well, sports have been a part of my life like forever. Ever since I was 4 years old, I started doing gymnastics. And then I continued with gymnastics, and that was my main sport all the way through college. And I did some different sports in high school as well. So I was always very athletic and very into competitive sports. I finally retired from gymnastics because it just really beat up my body. And I was like just mentally and physically ready to be done after a couple of years of collegiate level gymnastics. So I retired from that. And then I decided I just couldn't stop like doing something competitive. I needed that in my life. So I got into triathlon racing. And so I couldn't just like do that casually. I needed to train really hard and hire a coach and try to go from being a gymnast to trying to become a runner, which took a lot of hard work because I wasn't naturally inclined for that. So then, after that was like post-college, like when I was in my 20s, I was competing a lot in triathlon. And just kind of all along, I've had an interest in the whole fitness world. And I always had friends of mine who were also maybe in the same sport asking me to help them with their training programs. And I just loved doing that. And I would just do that to help them out. And I think then I was coaching gymnastics, and that was my life for a really long time. I was a career coach. all the way. I started coaching really high level competitive team kids. And then the last few years that I was in the coaching world of gymnastics, I was only working with preschool kids because I decided that I really loved that. So I was the coordinator for a preschool program at a gym in Minneapolis. But all along, I really knew that I wanted to do something different with fitness. I knew that my life I didn't want to just do gymnastics coaching forever. So I got the opportunity to move from Minneapolis to California, to Los Angeles. And I decided to make that for me about becoming a fitness trainer. So that's what I did. I was like, I'm going to move to LA and I'm going to become a trainer and let's see how this works. And I was super intimidated because I'd never even been to LA. So I was intimidated not only by just LA itself, but like, who am I? This girl from Minnesota, who am I to try to make it as a trainer? So I was going to give myself a year, no matter what happened, to like make it as a trainer. And I ended up staying there for 6 years. I just finally moved away from there a few months ago, back in December. And it was just quite the journey. And I am like proud of myself for everything that I was able to achieve and just what I learned. And I'm still a fitness trainer, but now my business looks very different from what it did when I first started out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of that was going to be happening before all the stuff that happened in 2020 with COVID, but was it a situation where COVID just totally threw everything off from what it would normally be and you had to just like totally deal with what was happening, or had you intended to have your own business at some point?
I always intended on I went out to LA wanting to just be an independent personal trainer. That's what I wanted. I've been an entrepreneur at heart my whole life. But the thing is I didn't really know anybody in LA. So it became very difficult with the few people that I knew to network enough to just be an independent trainer. So I did start working at a gym, which is the best thing that I could have done. I started working at a women's gym and I was able to just put in tons of hours and just really get into that atmosphere and get tons of practice and just meet a bunch of like really amazing people. And I still have a lot of the women that I still work with today are part of that original group that I started working with when I was first starting out from that gym. So I wanted to be independent. I didn't know how I would do that. But then I was like, all right, I'm going to need to start working at a gym. Once I was at a gym and built my business up for a couple of years, then I was able to take that next step and go independent. I also always wanted to somehow be able to have an online business. Well, I don't think I knew that right away, but I made that decision once I got not like big enough or anything, but once I started to feel like, okay, I can't really take on any more clients because I was on the verge of being burned out, just working with so many people and it takes a lot of energy and working out of the gym and all of that. So I was faced with a decision on how to scale my business. And I knew that I either needed to start hiring people, like maybe get my own gym and start hiring other trainers or somehow do it that way, or I needed to go online and scale my business that way. And I really wasn't sure which route to take. But then I started thinking about it and I was like, you know what, the people that want to work with me, they want to work with me. And I didn't want to have to go through all the hassle of having a gym and hiring people. And it just didn't feel right. So I decided to go online, but I really had no idea how to do that. So with the help of some really great mentors, I was able to start doing that. And that basically just started with me working, like writing programs for clients who didn't live in the same city as me. So I would deliver their programs. And I don't even think at that point we were doing any like video sessions or anything like that. It was just basically like I was delivering programs like on Google spreadsheets or something. Mm-hmm. So that was like the first step. And I was like, oh, this would be really great. And I always kept saying to myself, as soon as I get the online part of my business built up big enough, I'm going to be able to stop doing the in-person side of it. And then I'm going to be able to like live wherever I want and have this business that's completely online. And that will be really great. So that's what I always wanted. But I always kind of thought, well, I need to build up this online part first before I'm able to really be 100% online. Mm-hmm. So that was probably happening for like a year before COVID hit and the gym closed. So all of a sudden, and at this point, I think that I was doing some video sessions with some of my clients that had all evolved, and I had some really great systems in place and a really great platform to deliver programs and work with, clients online and remotely. So when COVID hit, it really wasn't that big of a deal because I was like, you know what? Everybody who I was meeting at the gym on a regular basis, we just were able to easily transition to online. So instead of meeting at the gym, we just met on Zoom and we thought it was temporary, right? So yeah, it was funny because I borrowed a bunch of equipment from the gym or rented it. And I went and dropped it off at all my clients' houses so they at least had everything. And I was like, all right, we're going to make it through this. I don't know how long it's going to be, maybe a few weeks, but let's just do this and we'll do it online and we'll see how it goes. And then we'll be back in the gym. And so a few weeks later, I kind of found myself thinking, and I wasn't going to admit this to anybody, but I was like, you know what, I really like this. And I started to get a little bit nervous about the gym opening up again. I was like, you know what, I don't think I want the gym to, I want the gym to do well, right? But I don't want to go back to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, what, I'm sure my clients want to get back to the gym. And yeah, after a while of doing online, it just, my clients became so used to it that I would kind of feel it out and see how they were doing with it. And the feedback that I got was this is, all of a sudden they're like, this is so much more convenient. And I'm saving all of this time and I'm not having to drive to the gym and I'm not having to, do all these extra time consuming things to do our sessions in person. So it was actually working out better for them. And another thing that was really cool is adherence was way better. People weren't canceling their sessions as much. So that was really cool too. So then, yeah, I just decided it took so long for the gym to reopen, but it didn't even matter anymore because I had decided that this was what we're doing now. And the thing that I learned the most on that is that I would have never had the guts to just be like, all right, everybody, we're going online. We're not meeting at the gym anymore. We're just not going to do that. I'd be so scared that I'd lose all my clients, right? Or they wouldn't be happy or they'd think I was totally crazy. I would not have had the courage to just, I want a business that's online. So let's just do it. So I'm not saying COVID was a good thing or anything, but for me, it gave me that little push that I needed to take that step. And it gave me a reason to finally, make that transition to have a business that's 100% online. And I still sometimes, I get asked sometimes still to meet in person, and it's always hard to say no, but I always have to say no because I'm like, you know what? No, this is what I want. And this is how I want to work. And so we're going to just do it this way. And it's not for everybody, but it's been really great for all my clients.
Yeah, that's so awesome that you were able to, well, first of all, be even remotely prepared for that. I think it's really cool to think that you were starting to create that structure ahead of time, which, I'm not saying you couldn't have done it on the fly last year when COVID really started happening, but I feel like there was that level of maybe some preparation that actually made it a lot easier for you to get started. Because I had the same experience, well, maybe not the exact same, but just the same experience of that whole couple of months when COVID first happened where, everything's it's going to be 2 weeks, it's going to be 3 weeks, it's going to be 4 weeks, and you're just what's going on? You're just, even the whole month of April for me, I was just kind of I wasn't planning anything. I was just kind of observing and cruising with the people I worked with and just was waiting to see what would happen. And then having been online in my business since 2014, I was seeing all these people posting oh my gosh, I got to move online. I have no idea what I'm doing. So all the people that kind of got forced to move online were panicking or kind of either that, or they were kind of like you, where maybe they wanted to do a little bit of online stuff, but they weren't really taking drastic action on it. And then when COVID hit, it was one of those sink or swim kind of moments. It's you're either doing it online or you're not doing it at all. Those are your options. So that was something for me, even though my business had always been online, I saw it as an opportunity to help other people that were transitioning their business to online. And so that was actually the moment where my business really pivoted because I'd been mentoring other nutritionists and dietitians online for I guess it was about a year at that point that I had a few clients. Was just kind of like for fun, for, the excitement of being able to help people with their business. And then everything that happened starting in March just was like, all right, I guess this is the direction my business is going in. So I definitely empathize with that idea of like, I don't know if I would have never done it, but I definitely think it would have been a much slower transition had last year not happened the way it happened because, again, it was that moment where a lot of people had to make really drastic decisions in order either to survive with their business or someone like me who I just saw this opportunity as like, hey, this is something people really need right now and I can help them. Why not go for it? So I know there was a lot of people, a lot of online entrepreneurs that either went online or like went all in on the online thing when COVID happened because they just had to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting what you said about you don't know if you would have actually done it or like if you would have done it slowly. Like I don't know either. Like I know that I wouldn't have just done it. I think it would have taken like something else, some outside force that would have finally, forced me to do it, or I would have just done it so ridiculously slowly that like I'd be retiring by the time like I was online. But yeah, that whole like time with the closing and it's just like such a blur. And I remember kind of saying, I don't want to bring everybody back to the gym because now we're all not sure what's going to happen. I certainly don't want to have to be going back and forth. Okay, we're in the gym. Okay, we're back online. Okay, we're in the gym. I feel so like lucky. Like I was preparing. I was preparing for this without even knowing it. So I know it was very difficult for business owners that didn't have any type of experience with working with their clients online. They just had to figure it out on the fly. And I luckily didn't have to. Another thing too, is that I know it was also really hard for folks who just didn't like working online because it is different. It's different. It's a different feel. Even working one-on-one, doing a training session, it's different. It's not for everybody. And I feel I'm just really lucky that I can see everything just as well. I don't feel like I'm losing anything, like with being able to keep an eye on people, setting up the camera, as long as we have that dialed in, then it's fine. And then being in front, I've expanded my classes and everything. So I'm able to get in front of a lot more people now. And I love teaching groups, but I really love doing that on Zoom too. I feel like I can bring the same energy. And I know not every fitness trainer feels like they can do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do think on one hand, I definitely feel it's a skill. I'm sure there's a lot of people that went online in the first couple of months. They're like, oh, this is really hard. And then eventually they got used to it. But then there is also, I think, kind of a natural, I don't say a natural talent, but it's almost like some people just know how to engage using online stuff better. And I don't know if it's like a personality thing or what, but I know there are some people that really do feel like they need that physical energy. And to be fair, like I like having the physical energy, but I think, maybe you feel this way too, with being able to run an online business, it's almost like one of these things where even if I were to do better with in-person, just the level of opportunity that having an online business has afforded me, especially with the things that I want to do with my life, like, travel and have a family and that kind of thing, all of those things that if I was working in an office or, if I was a trainer and working in a gym, it's like, you just don't have that level of freedom that you can have when you do have your business online. And so as much as I love in-person experiences and I try to build those into my business as much as possible, I can't imagine, like, if I was still doing nutrition even, I can't imagine going back to any sort of like full-time office situation after last year, because I just think now the barrier to entry for the client is so much lower because they're used to doing everything online, that it's no longer this thing where you have to convince people that, oh, like this is what it's like to work with a coach online. It's become something where Zoom calls and, virtual portals and all of that stuff is just normal now. So I feel like there's a lot less resistance on the customer side. I don't know if you've had that same experience or not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that there's any replacement for, getting together with someone in person. Like I don't ever want there to be a world where, we're not meeting for coffee and we're not, doing, getting together. right? We have to have that. But yeah, for my business and for how I want to help people, like, I think it's just working and it's how I want to work. And I do also feel like even my clients that I'm just doing more like written programs for them, I still do a 15-minute check-in with them every week because I kind of do it for me. Because if I don't have that face-to-face with them every week, then I'm like, I wonder how they're doing. And then I'm like, they're doing terrible. No, but you're just always guessing. And if you're not hearing from them or whatever. So I really love having that check-in, and so do they. And we spend that time in different ways, just kind of depending on what they need. But I think that we can still get a really good connection, even though it's online. But yeah, I don't think that should ever be fully replaced.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So how have you evolved as a coach and a trainer since all of this happened and your business went fully online?
I think the coolest part of how my business has evolved is that I'm able to work with a lot more people now, because I'm able to do something that I didn't even know that I really loved so much, which is getting in front of a group. So I've been able to expand the different types and the number of classes that I offer each week live. I also fairly recently was able to set up a membership site, and have all of my classes available on demand. So that's been like the biggest way that I've been able to evolve my business with everything that's happened. And I think that I have evolved as a coach just because I feel like the time when I'm meeting now that I'm meeting with people on video, it feels like the time is just a little bit more precious. So I almost feel like there's like more connection. And also because now I'm not living in the same city as them. So it's kind of like, I know that I can't just get together with them anytime. And so, okay, we have these, 1 or 2 times a week that we're seeing each other. We're going to make this really worthwhile. And so it's almost fostered more of a connection with the people that I work with. So that's been really great.
Awesome. Yeah. And I love the whole like on-demand class thing is so cool. I feel like I never really appreciated it until I got a Peloton, which the only reason why we even bought a Peloton is because when COVID happened, our gym offered to lend out their Peloton bikes. Again, thought it was going to be for a few weeks or something. And so, of course, I jumped on that because we didn't have anything at home equipment-wise, and even trying to get stuff ordered at that time was a crazy mess, right? So we borrowed one because I was like, I generally am not a cardio person. I don't like spitting classes. Like generally that's not my thing, but I was desperate. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Anything I can do to get exercise. And I was honestly surprised like how much I actually really like having those online classes to follow. Cause usually like I work with a trainer at this point once a week in person, which we've been working together for like 6 years now. So it's kind of like a very long-term relationship there. And I used to work with him like 2 to 3 times a week, but we moved like half an hour away from his gym. So it's kind of like not super practical to drive an hour total to get to the gym 3 days a week. So now I just see him once a week, and then he writes my programming for the other 2 days. And we have our powerlifting gym in our garage now because we basically were like, well, I guess our vacation fund is going towards building our gym last year. So, but it is one of these things. Yeah, I mean, it's an investment, but it's really nice to have. And, especially if we have kids and stuff, just knowing that like we can still work out and not have to drive places is so nice. So I don't know. We were always wanting to have a garage gym, but again, one of those like, wasn't planning on doing it last year. So now that we have that, not only can I do the programming from my trainer, but then we also have like the on-demand classes with the Peloton. And I always thought I was somebody who wouldn't enjoy that kind of thing. But again, because you kind of get, I don't want to say forced into it, but last year it was like either do it or, work out on your own. Those are your options. I was surprised how much I really enjoyed doing like a video-based class in an online format. So I do think a lot of people probably last year, I'm sure you could vouch for this, that a lot of people that maybe thought they wouldn't like it actually ended up really liking it. And then they're like, oh, why wouldn't I just stick with this? Why would I like go back to driving and making sure I'm like beating traffic and all of that? And so did you find that a lot of people didn't want to go back to in person after, I mean, I don't even know. I feel like California was closed down forever. So I don't know if you really got an opportunity to go back, but I don't know if you saw people saying like, oh, I'd rather stay with this anyway, even if we could have the gym again.
What I did hear about people like missing it, I think they were just like missing the idea of it, and when we and weren't missing the reality of it. So maybe being in the gym with all the people, like missing that. But no, I never had anybody be like, oh man, I just can't wait to get back to the gym. Like I never heard that. So another thing that I thought that was a really powerful thing that I was able to do is customize things, like what you were saying, like you didn't even realize that you would like the online classes as much. So when I was just working with my clients in the gym, it's like, yeah, I like customize it to them during that session that they have. But that's kind of and then they could maybe hop into a group class that I would have on the weekend or something. But that was kind of it. Those were their options. Now I have all these different options. So I'm able to create these super customized, like hybrid type programs. And I've never been like a cookie cutter. So I always, when you ask like what kind of programming I do, I'm like, it depends, because we're going to figure something out that's going to work for you. And so for some of my clients that maybe started out just doing one-on-one sessions with me, now they have more of a hybrid program because they have tried out my group classes and they're like, these are really cool. Or like my super gentle stretching classes are a nice supplement. So maybe they're still doing their one-on-one session with me, but maybe once a week instead of 3 times a week. And now they're also jumping into a class or two. And then I'm also delivering them a program where they're getting like a video workout to do on their own because, so it just, the amount of variety that I'm able to give my clients is way more. And the ability to customize is increased as well. So that's been super cool.
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of my clients in the nutrition space doing something similar where they still do one-on-one, but now they're building out, it's almost like a content library for their one-on-one clients. So if their client needs something or needs to be educated on something, rather than them reinventing the wheel over and over for every single client that they work with or having to repeat themselves 1,000 times, they can say, oh, go watch this video in your online portal to understand what we're doing or, for like recommendations on this. So it's cool because it's like you can get the same result with the client, but you don't have to be spending all of the time one-on-one, or, if they can't make a live class or something, they don't like miss out on the opportunity because the online portal is there. So I just think personally, I feel like this is kind of the future of especially online business and being able to create services like that go beyond one-on-one. Because again, as much as one-on-one is great, it's even better if people can access the information. I mean, if they need to go rewatch it because they forgot something, or in the case of a fitness instructor, it's like, hey, I really liked that class. I want to do it again. Like you don't have to go fit that class in on your calendar. You can just do it whenever you want. So I feel like the smart health entrepreneurs are the ones that are figuring out ways to almost like replicate themselves and also still create that connection. So it's not just this like, because that's the one thing about Peloton is as much as I enjoy it, it's not like I have a personal connection with any of the instructors. I don't get to like ask them questions. Like, it just is this online library of content. Whereas I'm guessing in your business, it's like that nice combination of having that personal connection, but also having the opportunity to get on-demand services that, they're still feeling like, oh, it's this person I like learning from, but it doesn't have to be on your schedule.
Right. And people love that flexibility. And I'm not competing with Peloton or any, because I can get myself really overwhelmed and be like, well, people can pay like $9 a month and sign up for these like really big, I can't even think of one right now, but some big website that you can just watch workouts. Right. But for me, the value that I add is it's me. And so you're still, even though like you're going to my classes, we're going to have a personal relationship. I'm going to get to know you. And I have a unique style of teaching and showing up. So that's what I bring to the table. And I have to just remember that when I start to think like I have, like this is my workout room behind me, so I have it set up as best as I can. And it's not like super professional, like, some big companies have, but it's working and I love it. So that's all that matters.
Well, and I would imagine that also something that you provide to your clients that something like Peloton can't is the guidance as to what to be doing. Because, I mean, honestly, for me, the only reason why I even know how to incorporate the Peloton into my training routine with my trainer, because I still do both, right? Like it's not like I like quit my trainer because, oh, now I have a Peloton. It's like not even the same workout. So
yeah.
I still work with my trainer and he customizes the recommendations that he does and he customizes his plans. The only reason why I even know anything about how to use the classes that Peloton offers is because I've been training with my trainer for 6 years and I'm also an educated health professional, right? So I feel like one of the things that those like big, thousands of users, like no interaction kind of services, one of the things that they're missing is that opportunity to get stuff recommended for your unique goals, your unique needs. Because something that I always saw when I was working with health clients was it's kind of this lack of understanding about how to construct a healthy workout routine. And I feel like depending on what you've learned from a lot of women, especially, but men, I'm sure as well, it's almost like they just think, oh, I just have to go as hard as possible, as often as possible in order to be fit. And I even noticed certain like types of workout studios would kind of have that mentality. And a lot of my clients were dealing with like hormone issues and that kind of thing that were driven because they were way overdoing the workouts or just doing inappropriate workouts, but they just had no understanding of how to decide. Like if you have 1,000 classes you can pick from, how do you know that, oh, today you should really be doing a recovery workout and not like, a hit and hills workout or something on the Peloton because you just did something hard yesterday. And so I just think ultimately, like when it comes to supporting, and this is kind of for any health professional that has an online business, for anyone who wants to have an online business that goes beyond one-on-one, I really believe that the value you bring to your clients is more about helping them make decisions around what to do as opposed to purely providing content. Because honestly, like I will say, and this is in the nutrition space, I can't speak for the fitness space, but in the nutrition space, I'm going to guess that at least like 90+% of the information that we share with our clients is something they could find online, right? So it's like we're in this information age where so much information is available for free. And the problem that we run into now, it's not a lack of information, it's an overload of information and, inappropriate information that doesn't apply to you. So I feel like I'm guessing based on what you told me about how you work with your clients, that a lot of what you do is actually help them navigate how to put a workout routine together so that it's appropriate for them and their goals. And it's not just like, oh, just go as hard as you can until you're exhausted. Because I feel like that's usually how a lot of, especially anyone who likes fitness, it's like a lot of times what they end up doing and it ends up causing more harm than good.
Yeah. I mean, the mark of a good workout isn't like how much you sweated is that a word? How much you sweat, how hard you went, like how much you destroyed yourself, how tired you are. And I think that ends up being that mentality, that mindset, that's what a good workout has to be. That is a barrier. It ends up being a barrier to a lot of, I think, women especially. And they think, well, I'm not at that level. Or, sometimes like I post videos, like stories of myself doing workouts. And I do really hard workouts sometimes, but that doesn't mean that I do hard workouts all the time or that I think that all my clients need to do hard workouts all the time, like not at all. And so I just have to reassure them that like, you know what, no, like that's not a barrier. Like you can still approach fitness from a way that suits you better. And so I have classes that allow for that. Like if someone's been out of fitness for a while or they're dealing with, issues with their body or they're not feeling good or whatever. And most of the women that I work with are like right around midlife. So that kind of is a time for a lot of women where life has kind of gotten crazy and working out has taken the back burner. And so now they're like, how do I even start again? I'm not 20 anymore. I can't work out like I'm 20. What do I do? So that's where that conversation happens where, all right, let's start with this class because that's going to be something good for you to kind of just get your joints feeling better and get things moving. And it's still like legit, right? And then down the road, once we build that foundation back, then maybe like hop into one of my kettlebell classes or my bodyweight class, and you can like push yourself a little bit, because I think there also is a time and a place for getting out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself if you want to, but like not everybody's up for that, and you don't have to do that. So I think coaching people like on that big picture, like how to fit the workouts into their life in a way that's smart for them and that meets them where they are. But then also like how to manage the workout itself. That's something that I make sure that I'm very diligent about, because I don't want people to get lost in my group classes and feel like they need to keep up with what I'm doing, or maybe they're looking at somebody else who's on a totally different fitness level than them, and they're like, well, I need to be doing it that way, or I need to always be taking the toughest modification of that move. And so I make sure that in all my classes, I give lots of ways to modify things, and I repeat over and over again, like, you got to manage your own workout. Like, do it this way. If this doesn't feel good, slow it down. And we do everything based on time. So you're not trying to like keep up with reps or anything like that. So you can really pace it at your own pace, which is so important. So even though they are like group classes, I try to allow for that customization as much as possible. And I feel like that's one of my strengths, in just kind of being able to help people, not get overwhelmed and not do too much. And
Yeah. Cause I'm sure if somebody is overdoing it, they're either going to give up because it's like, oh, you feel like garbage the next day. You can't even walk down the stairs. Who wants to feel like that? Or they end up causing more harm than good to their bodies because they think, oh, well, if I want to get in shape, I should feel like I can't walk the next day. And because I used to be there when I was in my early 20s. Like, that was my mindset around working out, was like, oh, the harder, the better. And the more I sweat, the better. And the more calories I burn, the better. And it did take, kind of a big shift in my mindset around that kind of thing to make those changes. But now it's like, that's one of the reasons I've stayed with my trainer for 6 years, is because I know that he does a great job at balancing pushing me out of my comfort zone, because I do get a little bit like, it's so funny. I get a little resistant to working too hard at the gym, because I do so much stuff in my business that's like always pushing myself out of my comfort zone, that I show up at the gym and I'm like, sometimes I just like don't want to like be uncomfortable. Like, I just want to do something that's easy. Right. And so he's kind of learned how to make sure that he's not letting me just phone it in, but then also is super respectful of he knows what I'm actually saying. Okay, that's actually not good. I don't want to do that, versus like, I don't want to work that hard. Right. So it's kind of having that ability to know the difference and to be able to motivate, and I don't say push people, because I actually hate that word, to push people, but kind of like helping them push themselves past what they think they're capable of, because a lot of it is so much mindset related, without it turning into a thing where they're ignoring their body's needs or signals. And I feel like that balance is really, it's not a very typical training methodology, but it is one that if you find a trainer, and it sounds like you do that, if you find a trainer who can help you figure that like sweet spot out, where it's like a little bit of overreaching, but not so far that you're hurting yourself or causing harm, that's where you're going to get the best results long-term. And honestly, I've had a lot of not great experiences with certain programs, like some of the bigger, I will not name names here, but there are some companies out there that the way they program things, it's like, it doesn't teach you how to notice when your body's going past what it's really, capable of doing safely. And so if you work with a trainer who does help you pay attention to that stuff, I feel like you actually get better results, because you can build effectively, as opposed to like trying to do stuff too fast, hurting yourself, being really sore, and then kind of doing this like 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing with your training. So it sounds like when you work with people, you really help them appropriately push themselves so that they can grow, but not like just assuming that they just need to be doing what everybody else is doing, or that they need to do the hardest classes you offer every single time they work out.
And I had to adjust to that when I was a new trainer, because I was all like fired up and like, all right, we're going to do this workout, and I had it all planned out. And sometimes that worked out, but sometimes my client would walk in and just dealing with stress, right? Like whatever, all sorts of things can happen, like life. And in those situations, I think that piling stress on top of stress. You're just compounding it. And that is not the smartest thing to do. And so I think for me, it was, I would adjust their workout, and maybe we do something completely different, but that was more appropriate for where they were, like physically and their headspace and everything. And they'd sometimes get really hard on themselves, like, oh, man, like I didn't do the workout that we were supposed to do. I said, no, this is the workout we're supposed to do. Like this, you're here, you're showing up, and this is going to serve you better in the long run. Because I think, there is that discernment that you need to have in order to know, like, okay, when to push, when to back off. And for you, I totally understand what you're saying about you push yourself in your business. You go to a gym, you don't feel like pushing yourself, because I get like that too. But I think, and then some people are just wired a little bit different, and maybe they're pushing themselves in one area and they need to push themselves in that workout because that is the release that they need. And that is how they deal with their stress, but it's not the same for everybody. So knowing my clients and knowing how that affects them is really important. I've also learned too that especially for women who maybe get into fitness like later on in life, like when they're in their 40s or their 50s or even their 60s, that haven't been in sports or really in touch with their physical bodies their whole life, maybe pushing yourself can feel really scary. I mean, your heart rate goes up, you start to feel really icky, like it's an uncomfortable feeling, and it can kind of send off these alarms. And also knowing, like, reassuring them that that's just kind of part of it, making sure that like nothing is going on like with their joints or that type of pain, but just that uncomfortable feeling, and getting them kind of like used to that and knowing that that's an okay thing too is something that I work with my clients with as well.
Yeah. I was having this conversation with my trainer, I think it was last week actually, where I kind of got a little tired of my own like mindset around the exercise piece, where it was like, I don't want to do all this hard stuff all the time. Like, I don't want everything to be hard. And I kind of had to reframe that to say like, no, hard means growing, right? So if I'm doing hard things, it means I'm growing. And so even though it's not always like so fun and easy and stuff to do the things that I do, whether it's in my business or my workouts, like knowing that I can enjoy the hard stuff because I know the benefits I'm getting. Like that was something I really had to start like changing my mindset around, because I get it. Like I've been an athlete, not like an amazing athlete or anything, but I've been an athlete my whole life. And like you do kind of get used to that discomfort. And if you're not doing that stuff on a regular basis, like of course it's not going to be something you like naturally want to feel, right? And it's the same thing with business. It's like a lot of times the stuff we have to do to grow our businesses are super uncomfortable and scary, and we haven't done it before, and it's like we aren't good at it. And so I've kind of personally had to just get into this mindset of like doing hard things is good. It's not just that I can do them, it's that it's actually a good thing that I want to do. And so that's been kind of the mindset I've been trying to apply to my workouts. Because again, it's one of these like, oh man, I just did stuff hard all week with my business. Like the last thing I really feel like doing right now is like doing a hard workout. But having that mindset change has helped. And to be fair, like I still don't want to like crush myself and be like on the floor dying at the end of the workout. That's not my goal either. But I feel like, again, there's that sweet spot between not creating this like exhaustion at the end of a workout, but also not shying away from the discomfort that happens when you're like repping out or doing something a little heavier than what you've done recently, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think, it's easy to think that there's this arrival point that we're going to reach either in our business or with our workouts, and that we're just going to get to that point and then it's going to be easy. And then we've arrived, right? And when I start working with clients too, and they've been working with me for a while, and they're like, this still feels really hard. Like, why aren't I improving? Why am I not getting better at this? And then I have to remind them that like, no, I'm figuring out ways to challenge you more. Like, here's what you were doing before, and this was hard for you. Now here's what you're doing. Like, if we did that again, that'd be easy. But we're continuing to challenge you. So you're never going to get to a point, and I don't think you should with your fitness, where everything just feels easy. Otherwise, you're not going to continue to grow, and you're not going to continue to get stronger. And same with our businesses too. And I don't want to get that mixed up, that I don't think there should be ever, there shouldn't be any easy workouts or easy days or anything like that. Like sometimes we need time to just kind of coast and recover and reset or whatever. But if it keeps being hard, then that means we're continuing to challenge ourselves in new ways.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with that so much. And I think the idea is to say that, like, again, it doesn't have to be hard 24/7 and it shouldn't be hard 24/7. And if that's how you're approaching it, like, that's probably not good for your anything in your life, let alone your fitness. But then just remembering that, like, making it easy 24/7 isn't the goal either. Right. And I think sometimes it's like really easy for us to assume that, oh, well, once I'm successful or once I'm in shape, like all of this stuff will be easy. And that is like the big mindset shift I had to have recently with really like my life in general, but really primarily stemming from my business. Cause again, it's like one of these things where I see what I'm accomplishing now and I'm like, man, I thought at this point it would feel a lot easier. And it's like, there's different things we're doing, different challenges. And I think the more we can embrace that and not think that that means there's something deficient about ourselves or that like, oh man, I don't want this to be hard. Because of course we can always choose to opt out. Like a lot of this stuff is optional, but I feel like those of us who care about really living our lives to the fullest, we have to be okay with the idea that generally there's always going to be challenges. And that's a good thing. It's not something to be avoided.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
So I have one more question for you. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I did want to hear from you the story of the name of your business, 1123 Fitness, because it's definitely an unusual name as far as like, it sounds like it has a story attached. So I wanted to hear that if you can share it.
There is a story behind it. And when I named my business this, I thought people would be asking me all the time, like, what is 1123? What's the point behind that? But I very rarely get asked that, but I love when I do. So thank you. So 1123 is from scripture, Mark 11:23, which says, say to the mountain, go throw yourself into the ocean. If you believe it will happen, it shall be done for you. So I wanted to name my business after that because, like I told you, when we first started, I was moving to LA. I was trying to make it on my own, and I knew that I couldn't do it under my own power. So for me, I have, God that I need to rely on. So I just wanted that to be a reminder for that. But it also is a good reminder that we just can't lose hope, right? So that's the story behind 1123.
I love it. It does definitely apply to so many circumstances where if you really have to believe that something is possible for it to actually happen, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many times we want something, we say we want it, we're working towards it, but there's that part of us that's like doubting that it's ever going to happen. And I'm not saying it's impossible for something to happen if you doubt it, but I do think the way we mentally approach things and the way that we trust in God for like providing the things that we can't do in our own strength, like that is really the difference between seeing the external result versus not seeing it. It doesn't really matter how much work you're doing if the whole time you're questioning if it's ever going to happen and thinking like, oh, this will never be, I will never reach this goal, or I'll never be able to do this, or this will never be my life, or whatever kind of thoughts that we have. So I love that story.
Yeah. And to take that one step further too, believing that it will happen and it shall be done. Also, part of faith is understanding and accepting that it might not be done exactly how we think it should be done or that it will be done. So we have to be open to just knowing that we're here to just prepare for what God has for us and be open to that. So,
and the part that the type A perfectionist in me likes is the one, or the part that says it will be done, not you will do it, right? Yes. It's like, I think that we always are like, I have to make this happen, right? And that's probably one of my biggest stress points is believing that I'm responsible for the outcome of everything. And so that's a big learning lesson that I've had to go through and still are going through. And doesn't seem to matter how often I learn it. It's like anytime something else gets hard in my life, it's like, gotta remind that it's not in my hands to make the outcome what I want it to be.
Yes, I think that's for me too, just going to be like a lifelong process.
Awesome. Well, Becca, it's been so awesome to get to chat with you about the way that you run your business and all of the big leaps that you've made in the last year or so since COVID happened, and just the way that you've been able to take a bad situation and turn it into something, I'll say positive. I mean, it's one of these things where I look back at the last year and of course, I would never say, oh yeah, I'm so glad it happened. But it is one of these situations where I can be thankful for how I was able to respond and, the decisions that we made that were, in response to everything that was going on. I think we can look back and say, like, yeah, I have a lot of gratitude for that push that, even though, would have been nice to have in a different way, it is what it is. And that's, just the ability to respond that way in life, I think, is really valuable when things outside of us get crazy and out of control. It's like, well, how can I respond to make the best out of this situation? So if people want to hear more about the work that you do, or maybe they're like, oh, that sounds really cool, this class pass thing that you have. I know it's probably not allowed to call it class pass. I'm sure that's trademarked, but the live classes that you offer, if people are looking for a trainer that's going to be able to push them, but not totally make them, work out to the point of overexhaustion, where can they learn more about your business?
Yeah, so you can head to my website, 1123fitness.com. I also have, if you want to try out my classes, you can take a week and just have unlimited access to all my live classes. Right now, I think I should know this number, but I just added some. So I think I have like 8 or 9 live classes every week, and that will just continue to grow. So if you go to 1123fitness.com/free trial, then you can sign up for 7 days, just check it out and come to as many classes as you want. And if you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'm quite ready to jump into a class, then I invite you to just, again, go to my website and just reach out to me directly if you feel like you're not ready. If we just need to meet and maybe go over some form and technique, that's all part of it. So I'm happy to do whatever you need to get you prepared to feel comfortable to try out my classes as well. And if you're brand new and you've been out of fitness for a while or maybe forever, then I would start with my super gentle classes to kind of get back into it.
Awesome. I love it. Well, that sounds like a great offer. And so we'll definitely link to that free trial if people want to check it out. And I personally, like I said, I have my trainer and then I also do the Peloton thing. So I love having online classes. So it's something that if you haven't tried it before, I would definitely encourage you to experiment with it, because you may be surprised how much you love it and how it really helps you do the work that's actually going to help you grow without feeling like you have to make all your decisions by yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes it's nice to be able to just show up and not have to come up with anything. Okay, just show up and know that and my workouts are a half hour. So it's not like they're super long, and it's a total body workout, everything that we do. So you know that that's going to be good for the day.
Awesome. Yeah. I will say, I love my trainer if he's listening, Matt. I do love working out with you, but I will say one of the biggest benefits is just being able to show up and not have to make another decision for an hour. Right?
Amen. Amen.
So my last question for you is one that we ask a lot of our guests, and it's no wrong answers, but what do you believe makes a person more than a body?
Oh, wow.
Just went real deep, just totally threw you off. But like I said, no wrong answers. Anything you say is correct.
I mean, our bodies are important, but I do, our souls are more important. So I think that respecting our bodies while we have them during this time that we have on Earth and trying to flourish in them and make the most of them is important, but also keeping in mind that the time that we have here is just a blip, and eternity is much bigger than that. And eternity is much bigger than our bodies.
I love it. Well, thanks for playing. I'm sorry. I always throw people under the bus if they are not prepared for that question, but it was a great answer. And I definitely think a lot of people could benefit from remembering that our bodies are not the end of, what our lives are. So, well, anyway, Becca, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me. It was so great to get to know you and to get to chat with you about all of the awesome things you're doing in your business. And thanks to all of you for hanging out with us for the last 45 minutes or so. We will look forward to seeing you all here next week on the Fed and Fearless podcast. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Are you a dietitian or nutritionist business owner that wants to create an online business that consistently brings in dream clients who actually want to buy your services, but you're struggling to figure out the right business strategy to get there. Keep listening because I have a special limited time opportunity that will help you create the highly profitable and impactful nutrition business that you always wanted. My signature group coaching program, the Nutrition Business Accelerator, is now open for enrollment until Thursday, September 2nd. In this one-of-a-kind coaching program created exclusively for nutrition and dietitian entrepreneurs, you'll learn how to start, grow, and scale your online business to 6 figures and beyond, so you can experience the financial and time freedom that you desire. I created this program to help struggling dietitian and nutrition entrepreneurs get clarity on who they serve, how they serve them, and how they can stand out in a crowded market, so they can more easily attract dream high-paying clients into their online nutrition business. This program is for brand new business owners and even nutrition students. And it's also for those who have been in business for months or maybe even years, but aren't getting the traction they'd like to see in their growth. You'll learn the most important foundational business building and marketing principles, not just tools like social media, so you can experience sustainable business growth that adapts to the constantly changing world of online business. Over the course of 12 weeks, I'll show you how to attract high-paying clients who are excited to work with you and willing to pay you the rates that you deserve. You'll get training on how to effectively sell your services in a way that feels authentic and converts prospects into paying clients without feeling pushy or salesy. And you'll get step-by-step instructions on how to create programs and services that provide transformative results, leading to glowing testimonials and referrals from your current clients so you can have the greater impact you desire in the world around you. You'll also learn how to manage your time, energy, and resources so you can get more done in less time and experience the time freedom that you got into entrepreneurship for. When you apply what you learn in the MBA program, you'll never have to feel stuck or overwhelmed in your business again. Want to make this your reality? Then the Nutrition Business Accelerator is your pathway to achieve all of this and more. Get the proven strategy that has helped over 100 business owners start, grow, and scale their nutrition businesses to $5,000, $10,000, and even $20,000 months and beyond, and accelerate your progress to build the nutrition business of your dreams. Go to lauraschoenfeld.com/NBA to learn more about the program and apply for your spot before doors close on Thursday, September 2nd. That's lauraschoenfeld.com/NBA, which is short for Nutrition Business Accelerator. Doors are closing soon, and you don't want to miss out on this one-of-a-kind business coaching opportunity. Let's accelerate your nutrition business together. I'll see you inside the program.